Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bill and Ray Show. Thanks for stopping by. I'm out here in the torch shop making another marble, and I'm going to start out with the main construction rod. And first thing we're going to do is add some silver filings. I used these a couple weeks ago. They're kind of cool. Let's get fired up and see what we can make. So we just got our raw end of the rod we're going to clean up. There's a factory end. It's even marked with a little colored green mark on it. You all know what that green mark is for, let me know. So start off peeling off any anomalies. Got a beautiful day out today. I'm out here in the shop kind of early, trying to get going here before it gets too warm. For June, we're starting to see some crazy warm weather. And we already got the air conditioner set in the window in the shop, so I'm ready for it. Swapped out the snow tires for the summer tires on the Toyota a couple days ago. We don't use it very much, but went to the transfer station the other day with it. Had to wait in line for over an hour. Oh my gosh. That was crazy. So we're going to heat up a gather and flatten the end. Give us a surface to work from. Okay, well, let's get torch cranked up. Just letting this ball up and fall back onto the rod a little bit. Trying to figure out the starting point is always kind of tricky. Trying to start out with the Goldilocks zone, which is mysterious in itself. This will have a lot to do with how the eventual size of the marble turns out. That's looking pretty good. Now we got to let that stabilize and settle down. So I want to flatten the end of this, but I just want the end flattened. I don't really want to distort too much with what I've got on the left-hand half of this. So after we're kind of cooled off a minute, then we'll reheat this end. So to press this down, I rotate it a bit to try and see if I can get square and on center. Okay, that's kind of what I want for a starting point. We'll flame polish this a little bit. Alright, I've got some silver filings in a vial here. A little bit goes a long ways, so don't need very much. But I want to pick up on the face here. It doesn't pour out of here very easily because it's got a little edge there inside. Okay, my little star field here. Okay, I'm just going to do kind of a singular pickup. So I want this pretty soft, so I grab a good bit of what's on the arbor plate there. Kind of rock it around a little bit. Alright, now I'm actually going to go move this plate out of the way here and clean it off. Okay, get back in business here. Now, the next step, I want to cover this silver with some clear. I want this to be kind of a delicate operation. See if we can get my angles the way I want them. I'm trying so to start here in the center. And spiral this on with a bit of a gap. Let's see if I can come all the way out here on this edge. And seal off the outside edge. Okay. So we can have a spiral on here, and then we're going to heat that in. So some of it's sealed up with clear and some of it's exposed. So I'm going to build up a little bit of material, and I don't really want to squish this front face. Try to let this kind of build up on its own terms. So the next layer is kind of the star field. The next layer we want gold fuming. Let's see if this will fume. Okay. Now I need a series of little dots. Actually, I think I'm going to use some smaller stringers here. Okay. So no particular pattern here. I'm just trying to fill up some background. We'll kind of do this in somewhat of a spiral foundation. Now, the way I'm going to kind of use this, I'm going to go ahead and kind of add all the way out here on the edge. May or may not be useful. Okay, I'm going to heat that in. Doing several steps here that I have not done before. That's the whole idea of this series, really, is to try and get into playing around with some new ideas. And as usual, we're going to try and burn out the excess fume here. Now that silver that was on the surface, where it's still on the surface, exposed, it's going to kind of fume on its own. That's cool. I'm going to come back on this edge and again kind of burn out some fume here. Alright, next move. I'm not sure why, I don't think I've ever done this in particular, but I've got some Andromeda frit. And I want to just add a few spots. So I thought, well, let's see. One way to do this would be to pick up some of this frit on a small glass rod. And then deposit it. So I thought this is kind of a different way to apply some frit. Okay, thought I'd just try a few spots like that. And now it's kind of a shaping process. So it's sort of like I'm going to try and compress this down, but I don't want to do a traditional pressing sort of situation. So it's really more of a shaping to a cone that I'm after here. And because of what I'm trying to build up, I'm going to add some clear as we go. Okay, trying to build up some random clear because I want the effects that I have initially added to be kind of up into the Vortex marble. So I need to build some spacing, some glass that's going to space it off of the interior wall, if that makes sense. but I'm also trying to get some three-dimensional sort of depth to it. So we'll see how this works. I don't want just a well of clear at the bottom. I want to try and coax this pattern to show up, extending down into the bottom. Well, so far I didn't even write anything down. I've just been kind of brainstorming this for a few days and didn't really even finalize the layers until I sat down with the torch. I figured I'd just give myself a few minutes this morning to kind of contemplate the ingredients that I want to do. So we'll see if I can remember all the pieces and parts. I just try and lay things out on the bench, the different colors, glass that I'm going to use. I'm trying to get sort of a progression of where I'm going with this. And so far, so good. Alright, we can get down to be more aggressive at our shaping. Let's switch over. It's kind of a trick to try and visualize this process step by step to prepare for making something that I haven't done before. So trying to get these various steps to come together with what was in my head. Sometimes it works better than others. The next layer is going to be some frit, some blue spruce. I want to have some color in here. All right, put that in. I didn't get it all the way on the very end, but I'll pull that out. And flatten this cone. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and try and grab a little bit on this end and pull this out. Okay, now we've got this background with some color. Now one thing I'm not sure if I've done it for a while, but one effect that's kind of cool is gold fuming at this point and then backing it with black, or in this case it's going to be dark cobalt. And that will get a speckly, hopefully metallic gold layer in the background. Well, I made a mess of my cobalt rod, but let's see if it feels like cooperating. Because for this, you really want a pretty good coating of gold. Trying to get that mirror effect. And that should do the trick. Okay. That's all the tough stuff done. Now, let's try some cobalt. Once again, defining this edge where it's going to transition between the colored back side and the front lens. And focus in exactly where this flame needs to be to melt this stringer of dark cobalt and get it down without disturbing the gold fume too much. I hope you guys are all doing pretty good. It's been a challenging stretch here for the last few months for us here, but things are shaking out pretty good right now. I've got a little order of cabinet knobs that I need to jump on tomorrow, and I haven't seen an order like that for a little while, which people get busy. Springtime, summertime, the market always kind of is changing up different times of the year. But we've got 4th of July coming up, and we've got some family gathering at our place. And I've got some young niece and nephew that are counting on me to do a good fireworks show, just like little kid stuff, you know. But it's not in the dark. It's entertainment through dinner hour and into the evening. But every year I've got to kind of up my game there and get some more cool stuff. So, no pressure. I'm sure we'll have fun. As long as the weather cooperates. I mean, usually it's pretty good weather 4th of July for us, but you never know. We've had times when it's been thunderstorms and kind of nasty weather too. When it comes to the weather this year, everything was like 2 weeks early. And now we've got a pear tree, 2 apple trees, a cherry tree, and a plum tree, and not one of them has fruit on it this year. It's been a brutal spring season. I'm just going to throw down this, what's left of this stringer just because. Wow, that's another layer. Happy to get that on there nicely. I'm trying to rotate this and move the marble so that I'm not twisting things. Might be giving it a little bit of twist, but hopefully not much. Okay, now this poor base layer gets fumed on both sides. So the back side we're going to do some silver. Smoky. Okay, well, we're done with, oops, hang on there. Done with whatever I just tossed over some of the glass. Okay, time to build up the back. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Always anxious to see what this is going to look like once it's out of the kiln tomorrow. So I can take this moment to thank our sponsor, Epicwater filters, and there's a link in the description below the video where you can check out their product line, and they make some excellent water filter. We are using the pitcher in our refrigerator right now to give us a easy grab and go glass of cold, clear filtered water. They've got other models under the sink or on the go sports bottle type situation. This would be good out hiking, or you're trying to get some water out of a stream that might be questionable. This modern filtration system's going to make sure you're drinking water that's clean and free of contaminants and biologics. And also down below the video, we've got our print-on-demand store for merch. You can help support the channel. Get a coffee mug or a t-shirt or something. We really appreciate you all hanging out, watching these videos, and supporting us. Just support us with comments, just a thumbs up. It's awesome. It really helps us out. We've still been just very slowly growing the channel a little bit and having fun. So if you like content like this and want to see more of it, give us a thumbs up. That doesn't cost you anything. Okay, after this first layer of clear, I'm going to seal this edge. Give it a nice little angle out to the tip. We leave the color exposed on the very end, so we want to push this clear glass backwards. Make sure we expose that glass on the very tip. Leave another lot of clear to fill in here. And we also have a link in the description below to our Etsy store. Our primary Etsy store, and then I've got a separate Etsy store for the cabinet knobs. And then we also, of course, I've got my marbles up on eBay. Some are buy it now, you can make an offer. Some are auction. I try and do auctions as much as I can, but some of these marbles just, they turn out really, what I think is really well. I'll tend to put them up as a buy it now for a while. But lately people have been getting some pretty good deals on auction. And of course the random super chat is much appreciated too. My last auction marble is headed off to Italy. It's always kind of exciting to send some glass I've made to outside of the country. Had a couple out of country sales lately. So all of you that are watching that are from outside of the United States, we really appreciate you. It's one really cool thing about YouTube and online in general is you can reach anywhere in the globe, basically, in this day and age. Okay, well, I think I need a bit more. This layer that I'm working on right now really is what defines the concept of a Vortex marble. You have a base, what I call a base layer inside the marble. It separates the interior, where people tend to react as the main show of the marble, and then the backside is going to get some decorative treatment, but usually that really kind of takes second fiddle to whatever is going on in the interior. Now, for whatever reasons, I had this glass on here at this stage, and well, I think I have enough glass built up, and it's not necessarily a pretty hemisphere. I'm not looking to make a perfect hemisphere here, just getting a quantity of glass in place. And then we'll heat this whole thing up and let the glass do its own thing. So the trick in this particular marble is to try and get some effects that would stay in the interior core. Time for me to chill out for a second here. Just let the torch do its work and just slowly rotate the glass. So there's steps like this that really just kind of chill out. Got my coffee mug with a lot of different marble patterns that I did a couple years ago. It always amazes me and amazes myself when I look back at work I've done over the years. Well, there's generally a couple little bubbles I don't get too excited about. But if there's one that looks like something I can grab, just reach in and pluck it out of there. Switch sides. Pretty good control up to this point. Now it's starting to get a little more wibbly wobbly. Try and go in on that very end and get that clear to kind of seal up that point. I'll give it a little bit of an angle and let it just really pull that point. Okay, well that's looking pretty good. I'll let this settle down for a minute. Okay, we got some backside color. I'm going to try a color I don't think I've used before on the backside. So we're going to start out with Butterscotch. Give us a generous amount of room between the lines here, so we can add 2 more color lines in between. And then we'll run some teal, some really tealy. This family of aqua and teal and so on is a lot of different shades, but very similar glass, very nice, easy working glass. Good solid color. Okay, then the one that I probably never used on the backside, at least not in line work like this, is Aquatic Carnaval. Not even positive that they're making this these days. Some of these oddball, kind of exotic colors I got a long time ago. This kind of color has a lot of metals in it. It's going to potentially cause some changes to the adjacent colors. These heavy metal colors tend to kind of fume on their own, and on the surface like this it may do some weird things. I don't know. Might turn out pretty cool, might turn out pretty ugly. Depends on how you want to look at it. Who knows? Maybe it'll become my latest favorite color to use. Okay, we need to melt that in. the colors like that is, as they heat up like this and they're going to manipulate it and put into the marble mold, that all those things are going to affect the outcome. And I'm just going to go through my process the way I normally do and get what I get. Okay. Roll this around until it stops flopping on me, and I think we're done with all of our color stringers. The clear filler rods we're finished with. Trying to get the right flame, and it never seems to be quite the flame that I really want, but it's the flame I get. Okay, settle in for a little raking. Yeah, so far it feels pretty good, pretty smooth. Kind of an awkward little space. We'll just do a small loop in there. Bounce around here to the back side, then we've got to kind of slowly come down here as we heat up the glass to the point. Come back up and try and connect with the previous raking on the wide end. Yeah, this looks pretty nice. Come back to the point. I'm trying to kind of center up on that point, pull it out a little bit. As long as my clear rod is pretty much seems to be on point. Pull out a little excess, and then we'll swish this in. You can't see that, but there's a little bit of open area here. And as I heat this up, I can barely see, kind of make out the interior cone. And so this little zone here on this edge, I like to try and tighten that up just a little bit. And then you try, let the glass do its own thing at this point. Try and get it to fuse in, settle down, round up. Try and hold off from using the marble mold for just a minute. At some point, kind of give in and decide to give it just a gentle, sort of rest it in there. Just give it a little coaxing. Yeah, I should have plugged in my fan underneath the torch. Getting pretty warm. So that Aquatic Carnaval, it might just look like poop. Pardon my French, but okay, crank up the Lynx fire. Kind of bounce back and forth between the red max flame and this fire. There's lots of glass we want to tear off of this. I have a messy looking business right now. try not to do too much pushing. I let the glass kind of do its own thing. I use a little elevation to help fix it together. The idea here is to keep building up the clear and pushing out that transition line between the color and the clear lens. Expand that perimeter. So sort of exaggerate the amount of glass sort of pushed up on that circumference. So it's kind of hard to figure out when to call it good on this phase here. I get plenty of clear glass on there that I can tear some off and still have a good balance of proportions between the lens and the base. At some point it kind of looks like an acorn to me. So, okay, I think that's going to work. So we come out here to our cutoff wheel. Try and keep that marble side. Hit this one more time. Putting some pressure on my left hand, but leaving the right hand free, so we don't stress that funny mark, funny point. Alrighty. Making progress. Grab a bite and then try and just drag it along there. That wasn't very good. Back up here and I'm trying to clean that edge as well. And then I'll come up close to it with the tweezers and then just drag it. Sometimes the glass wraps around the tweezers. Okay, we're kind of coming back around to the starting point. And we kind of drag back the other direction, back onto the body of the marble. Close off that tail. And I'm just kind of laying the tweezers down flat against the face there and skimming off. This marble's more obvious than some where you can really see that surface glass is a mess. You don't really see it till it gets in the flame and heats up. Just think of it like peeling an orange. Just take the skin off. You don't want to dig too far into it. get up here to the end, it seems to be typically a lot less of a mess. Okay. Now we just gotta get this thing round. Make sure our kiln is up to temperature. If I forgot to turn on the kiln, now would be a good time to do it. So we've got enough time to finish this marble to make the kiln warm up. So I got this angled up into the fire. And as that clear wants to move faster than the color, so we need to keep it from folding over. And to kind of direct that heat inside the core. Do some rotations to pull that face in and expand that circumference. And repeat some of those steps. Okay, we're getting kind of a funky shape. Let's go into the oversized marble mold here and give it a little spin. Let's see, where we want to go here. You can see that clear still wants to kind of rub up against that color edge. We'll go into the 2-inch mold here and kind of shape up that lens, give a little downward pressure to kind of start squeezing these two halves together. So I try and avoid this because at this point I I sometimes feel it's not moving the way I want it to, but sometimes I think maybe I've got a little bit too much glass going on here. And now's the time to kind of reduce the load a bit. Usually not much like that. But okay, once we get the clear that's kind of formed up to be what it needs to be, then we've got to work on the back side. So we'll swap anti-connections. Tend to kind of come up vertical, keep that from flopping around too much. Keep rotating all through, and the transition from one side to the other. Got to learn to just keep rotating. And be able to get back in the center. Okay, see what we can do on this back side. Do slow rotations if you can, while you can. That gets the most heat to soak in. And I feel it kind of moving around a little bit, then I can attempt to do some fast rotations and see if that'll help pull it together. And I'm going to go into the marble mold kind of laying down flat-ish. And that kind of winds up leaving this little bump out, but it's helped squeeze together that transition line. We're getting there. It looks kind of funky right now, but it's getting a lot closer. Okay, next run in the marble mold is going to go all the way through and up. So when I say through, it's going to start out and go through the edge. We're writing on the rim, so to get the round all the way through, you got to go kind of up and down with the puntee to get all the angles. And that got us 90% there. And this is just iterations. Takes quite a few to just to seal together. And I think I achieved the concept and the design that I was hoping to do. Whether it really pops and looks crazy wild, I don't know, but I'm happy with how this went. There's quite a carnival on the backside I don't think is a good fit, but gotta try it. Gotta do something different to give it a chance. A lot of these kind of colors are pretty dependent on flame chemistry. With the concentrators, I don't have super high oxygen purity, and then running it into marble molds that are graphite, those kind of instantly change the chemistry, add carbon to the surface, and generally kind of muck up colors that have a lot of metal in them. So at this point I'm looking at the reflections. I'm getting there pretty good. A little bit lighter touch into the marble mold. And at this point, I think we're good. We're going to let this roll for a minute and cool down. So to get everything to move, you want the whole core of the marble to be hot enough to move. But when you get close to the finish, you only need to be really messing with the surface. And it's actually, you want the core to solidify so it holds its shape. And then when you go to reheat the surface, and this is more like just a flame polish. So we kind of do this sometimes in two-step. And get that surface really hot and come out of the fire. And I can already see the core is not crazy glowing hot, just that outer layer. And keep rotating. People make a big mistake at this point of the marble process where they don't rotate enough. When you think it's not doing anything, it might be still moving, and then if you hold still, the heat distribution is going to become uneven. So it's really important to just keep it rolling. Again, I'm watching the reflection in the light. pretty good. Now we got to settle down, cool down enough to make a punty transfer. And punty transfers also can make for anomalies. Okay, that's our last punty attachment. Need to be careful from this point on because it's not a very strong attachment. Make sure we clean up where that punty was embedded. So this step we're going to go into the marble mold pretty hot. We want to get most of our shaping accomplished. So we're going to go in from the back side that's solid, ease into the front that's soft, and then come up into it. If you're lucky, that did 90%, 99%, 95% maybe. So now we just got some ripples. When I do that, I wind up with some kind of concentric ripples on the front face, but that's actually a good sign that it filled out. So the next run in the marble mold, we'll let this cool for just a moment. And come in really gently and keep rotating the same direction. Now again, we're losing heat. Spin it enough to let the core settle down. So we're doing just a plain polish there. Get plenty of heat. And I know from experience that it'll tend to be a little bit larger diameter across the perimeter from end to end. So if I hang it down, it'll help balance that out a bit. I really make sure that very front face gets fully plain polished, because that's where you're going to be looking in from. And then we can just check reflections. Everything's looking good. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. It's looking good to me. Let this cool down for a minute before we drop it into the marble mold and get it off the punty. Okay, we're going to hover over the mold. Shield this connection with wet tweezers. Give it a good heat here on the punty mark. And kind of spread that heat around. And kind of roll it. Watch the reflections as I move it around. It's looking great. Cheers, man. Here we go. Another successful marble ready to go in the kiln. I'm ready to go take a break and cool off. It's pretty toasty. I'm just a wimp, I guess. I don't really dig heat. Hence why I blow glass, because I really don't like to be hot. Okay, she's in the kiln, looking good. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Hope you all have an awesome day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of everyone around you, and be chill, be kind. We'll see you on another adventure, another day. Check it out.